Well, hey everybody, a happy Friday to you. It's been a week, we've been collecting votes, and it's starting near a tie. We've got 6 who want to continue with chapter books, in other words, a chapter a week, and 7 who want a new story, short story every week. So it's a tough one to decide there, but in democracy, one vote wins, I guess, so 7-1. There we go. So I think we'll do short stories for a while. And then maybe again at some point down the road, we'll introduce a chapter book again. But first order of business every Friday is shoutouts. And this week's shoutouts go to 2 channels. The first one is Wags and Whisk. It's a great channel about a couple of Pomeranian dogs in Cambodia. And always entertaining, always worth a watch. So check out Wags and Whisk. And the second one goes to a fellow Canadian, the Digging Dutchman. Now that sounds kind of like I don't know what I'm talking about, right? A fellow Canadian, the Digging Dutchman. He is indeed a Dutchman, but he lives in Alberta, in Medicine Hat to be exact. So check out the Digging Dutchman. His videos are mostly to do with metal detecting. So there we go, Wags and Whisk and the Digging Dutchman. Now, our story for this week is titled Salem's Spectre Ship. We were Salem men aboard the Neptune, ending a 16-month voyage on the shortest day of the year, in time for Christmas. Salem's a town that holds people wherever they roam. We remain Salem men until death. Legend has it that no matter where the body dies, the spirit returns to Salem. Captain Lowe had taken 2 of us boys on the voyage. I was, not yet 15, returning from a voyage that had doubled both capes. I who had yet to see Boston, only 16 miles from Salem. I had some 80 silver dollars due me, silk for a dress for my mother, a pipe for my father, a Chinese doll for my sister, and genuine Calcutta bandanas for all my relatives. Our practical education was in the hands of an elderly sailmaker, whose nickname was Sails. We learned how to knot, to reeve, splice, to hand, to reef, and to steer. We learned the sailors, we learned the legends, and the salty speech. Sails' favorite topic, though, was ghost ships. He had seen them all, the Flying Dutchman, the Chameleon, the Palatine, the Breeze, the Jessie. Many were the watches we spent on the cold wintry deck, while doubling the Cape of Good Hope, looking for the Dutchman. "Do not speak to him," Sails said. "If he asks your position, shrug your shoulders. If he asks for water, point out to sea. His last appeal will be for you to take letters to his beloved wife. Do not take them, for your ship will never reach port." Now, returning to Salem, we had but one regret. We had seen no ghostly ships. The old man always boasted of his ship, so responsive it could be brought into port by a couple of boys. And now I was at the helm, and Jack, my fellow, was the lookout. Darkness had already fallen. Old Sails was standing near the wheel. The pilot, Mr. Cates, was giving his orders in his quiet voice. We would make a running more, take in our canvas, warp into our berth. The men were all laughing and telling each other what they were having for supper. Then Jack screamed, "Astern! Look astern! Ship ho!" I thoughtlessly turned and looked. A great ship under full sail, 4 times the size of the Neptune, was bearing down upon us. I threw the helm over hard to port, believing that I could throw the brig over enough to ease a dead-on crash. The wheel was roughly taken from my hands, and I was crowded off onto the grating. The wheel spun back to its old position, and a calm voice was saying, "Steady, lad, steady." The crash I had been expecting did not come. Lifting my head, I saw the giant vessel veer slightly and come alongside our starboard, crowding us, but with no splintering of wood against wood, no rushing of water, She was making 15 knots to our 8. No creaking and no straining of ropes, no creak of the canvas, only a grim glowing silence. Every sail was set, every rope was taut or coiled and flemished on her deck, yet with not a sailor in sight. The strange ship seemed to fade away as though she had entered a dense fog. Old Sails was sucking his breath, eyes bugging out of his gaunt features, his knees shaking. Mr. Cates was pressing a silver flask on the old man and said to him in a quiet voice, "It's the ghost ship. A proper Salem man has died somewhere, and the ship is bringing his spirit home to Salem, home for Christmas." There's your story this week of the Salem ship that brings the deceased home. Well, now the time that everybody is not sure if they regret, like, can't wait for, or are shuddering in thought of what might come. The groaner of the week. Mr. and Mrs. Smith were touring Russia, and they had a guide named Rudolph. Well, Mr. Smith and Rudolph just could not get along. They argued about everything. If one said it was black, the other said it was white. If one said it was up, the other said it was down. Well, one day, as they were leaving Moscow, going out for a day's tour, Mr. Smith observed, "Oh, look, it's snowing." But the guide said, "No, sir, that's not snow, that's rain. That's good Russian rain." Mr. Smith said, "No, I think that's snow." And his wife, trying to calm down the argument before it went any further, said, "Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer." Groan. Well, there you have it. There's your groaner for this week. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and until Tuesday when we have cooking of some sort or another, I hope that you will take care, stay safe, and be very, very richly blessed. Bye-bye.